the greatest WoW PvPers of all time. Should we just take a look here? I want to say this looks like this could be Sea-Doo's hand. Does this look like Sea-Doo's arm or hand? This looks like this could be a Sea-Doo hand here. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we got. The greatest WoW PvPers of all time while we eat right now.
It's a player so good at PvP that he was able to use someone else's keybinds to beat a tournament team at BlizzCon. His name was Snuts, and he...
That was not Snuts' arm. That was not Snuts' arm. This guy was white. That was not an Asian arm.
Is arguably the best PvPer of all time in a list of players who could be considered the GOATs of WoW. This video is about some of the best PvPers that ever stepped foot into Nagrand Arena. People who were ahead of their time, had streaks of dominance, or who influenced the way we play today. These PvP legends include players from the past and the present, ranging from the beloved to the controversial. Now, having a GOAT debate is obviously a bit challenging for any game, and I think it's super difficult for WoW because we've had multiple eras of PvP across 11 different expansions. Because of this, I'm going to have different categories of GOATs, including the past, present, and future. I'll also talk about players who might not have GOAT status, but they've been crucial characters in advance.
This fucking idiot. I was hanging out with this guy at TwitchCon. If you guys know this guy, I'm sorry you've had to ever listen to this guy speak.
Advancing the PvP meta. I'll also include a bunch of honorable mentions to dominant players who stood the test of time, and then I'll mention some of the cultural GOATs who might not have the most PvP achievements, but were a crucial part in popularizing PvP and World of Warcraft in general. And if I don't mention your favorite streamer or video maker, it's not because I think they're bad. The truth is there are hundreds of players I could potentially talk about, and my list includes the ones that matter the most to me. And I want to start with who I would personally consider to be the greatest PvPer of all time, according to a few different factors: longevity, tournament placings, and influence. I think in order to be the GOAT of PvP, you need to check all of these boxes. Now, if you're already familiar with GOAT debates, you know there is one big problem.
What?
Times, longevity, tournament placings,
We have tournament wins. We've been around for 25 years. Okay.
and influence.
And we do have a lot of influence. We check every box here.
I think in order to be the GOAT of PvP, you need to check all of these
Yeah,
boxes.
we do.
Now, if you're already familiar with GOAT debates, you know there is one big problem: time. Really good players can exist in different eras, which is why it's hard to truly compare Michael Jordan to LeBron James. But right now, I think there is one player
Steph
who
Curry's
could
better than
definitely be
both.
considered the GOAT of the past, and a handful of players who eventually could cement themselves as the undisputed greatest of all time. In my opinion, the Michael Jordan of WoW was Snuts, whose legacy starts as a warlock playing in the MLG circuit, but extends nearly a decade, including a BlizzCon win in 2012, and multiple tournament appearances in the AWC up until his retirement in 2020. According to esports earnings, he ranks number 4.
What? 210,000? Chan is up here too? Why am I not on this list? I'm not in the top 23? Nah, someone check this shit. There's no, this is not fucking up to date. WoW esports earnings. This is not right. Yeah, they've got jelly beans above me. This is complete fucking nonsense. Who even made this list? How the hell is this even possible? There's no way I'm below on this list. Oh my god, they're saying Vince has more earnings than me. Bro, this is so out of date. This is ridiculous. There's no way. That's completely insane. What do you mean no wonder we're begging for subs? This is inaccurate. This has to be inaccurate. This is from, yeah, look, 2007 to 2023. All of my winning happened in 2024, 2025. That's the thing. They didn't even have half my winnings on here. That's a huge difference. Okay, so we basically showed that one then. Okay.
In overall prize money, despite not playing a single retail tournament in around 5 years. Even after his retirement, he did actually compete in some tournaments, like the Blizzard Classic TBC tournament, which he actually won. And he also won a Classic WoW dueling tournament in one of the craziest 1v1s of all time, with a prize pool of $100,000.
Bro, the Mod Core tournament was fucking insane. Do you remember this? Oh my god. Sometimes I'll sit on my couch and I'm absolutely zoinked and just look back at these tournaments, because this was so insane how much time was put into that shit.
I would argue that Snuts has the greatest range of achievements for any PvPer. He also was a huge innovator, not only because of his skill on Warlock, but also the fact that he was one of the earliest players to truly multi-class, playing everything from Disc Priest to Death Knight at a rank 1 level. While this is fairly normal today for competitive players, it was kind of unthinkable in 2010. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what made Snuts so good because it was a bunch of things all at once. Not only was he a phenomenal player mechanically, but he was also one of the best communicators of all.
He's also one of the most Asian players as well, which just, from a race standpoint, that I don't think they mentioned that, but that is also something to think about.
time. So good in fact that we even based our entire communications course around Snuts' shot calling. Anyway, to me, there is no player even remotely comparable to Snuts in what I would consider the old guard era of PvP. There's even some old skill cap commentaries from Snuts floating around YouTube, and even though they're 10 years old, I promise that most warlocks could probably learn something by watching them. But if you're looking for more modern tech, we recently updated all of our class courses for Season 3 at skillcap.com. The first thing I do when learning an ult is checking out our damage guide, since increasing DPS is the #1 way to gain rating. And these quick videos condense the most important information into bite-sized pieces, which truly helps you learn fast. We only work with the best players.
Bro, I wonder if Snuts, being the GOAT gamer and like being full Asian, if he will become the best slot spinner. He's probably got some min-max strategies or some shit on that too
in the game, and some of them are actually featured in this video. So if you want to get started and hit your goals with videos you can trust, check out skillcap.com using the discount link below. Anyway, to me, Snuts is definitely the Michael Jordan of PvP, but then there are a handful of players who all represent the GOATs of the modern era, sort of like LeBron James, I guess. These modern GOATs all exist on a playstyle spectrum, ranging from highly offensive players, and they got us. That's who they're talking about. I mean, is that crazy? That's us right there, green arrow.
What will you miss about Pika the most? I don't know, man. Probably just, you know, his excitement, his enthusiasm for whenever he runs in behind the pillar and presses trinket, cloak, evasion, vanish, double step, lines me for 30 seconds, gets a guy to 1% and starts screaming that he's going to die, but then doesn't actually get the kill and then dies himself. Probably that. I'll probably miss that the most.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of how we get
down. Like Pikaboo to methodically defensive players like Swapsy. But I want to start with Waz and Raikou, who I would argue are both near the center of the spectrum, but on the offensive side. Without a doubt, this has been one of the most consistent combinations of players.
First, third, oh, they're getting 6th place here? First, second, first. Oh, 6th place again?
In the modern era, having an insane streak of first place results dating all the way back to 2016. The reason I put Waz towards the center of the spectrum on playstyles is because he is a very balanced player, which is exactly what you want from your rogue in a comp like RMP. You need someone who can carve out precise win conditions while being able to fall back on methodical defensive play, which is what Waz does better than anyone else, at least on rogue. And it's no wonder why he's done so well with Raikou, who is a very balanced mate. This likely stems from his experience competing at the highest level across multiple expansions. I mean, no offense to Raikou, but he's a bit old. Usually mages tend to go one of two directions. Either they like to play hyper aggressive, focusing exclusively on offensive control, or they play like a wizard, focusing on stalling momentum in order to win a game of attrition. Raikou skews towards the offensive side, but is overall extremely well balanced, and together with Waz they create a highly efficient killing machine, and they're the type of players who are capable of winning the game fast, but don't mind taking games into deep dampening. And mirroring them on the other side of the spectrum is Chanimal, who I would consider to be the most balanced defensive player of all.
Chanimal is not a balanced defensive player. Chanimal invented the do-nothing strategy of sitting back. This guy has been the most defensive player in the game forever.
All time. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Chanimal is a master of game states and just so happens to play the perfect class to suit this playstyle. Warlock has always been perfectly tailored to be a neutral defensive class thanks to mechanics like Fear, Shadow Fury, Mortal Coil, you name it. These abilities can perfectly suit any situation at hand, either slowing down momentum when used on a DPS or snowballing pressure when used on a healer. Chanimal is unmatched when it comes to dictating tempo.
Master
He's always
dampener.
been insane at deciding where the game is headed. While some might view him as a highly defensive player, I'd remind them to watch the ending of BlizzCon 2013, where he uses Blanket Spelllock on a warrior in order to prevent Rallying Cry in one of the most dominant performances ever in the AWC.
You know, when he won this BlizzCon, I let him qualify because I shut down Sidu from qualifying and he never gave me any prize money from this shit. But what they feel, he's playing LSD, the most dampener comp in the game. Warlock, Ellie Shaman, Druid was the most dampening comp in WoW history. You could not do, it was disgusting.
In one of the most dominant performances ever in the AWC. You can't tell me a defensive Warlock would do that. What's even more impressive is the fact that he's
First. How is it? Oh, that's why he went to Europe. Yeah, that's why. So he went to Europe and started winning. On NA, he never had any of these wins because I was always farming him. So that actually is pretty weird.
Dominated both regions and has multiple first place finishes in NA and EU, being the only player to win the AWC Championship on both regions. And while this group of players here with Chanimal, Waz, and Raikou are the most balanced, I think we...
Tempo Storm, that was on when he was on my team, when he was the worst Warlock in the game and didn't even know how to play his own class. And he has to have the admins walking by in the practice area speccing his character for him. That's when he's on my team, by the way, on Tempo Storm. Pretty crazy how that works.
We need to take a look at the extremes. Starting with Pikaboo, who's arguably the best pure offensive player of all time. What many players probably don't remember is the fact that Pikaboo was once considered a prodigy player, getting his first rank 1 title ever before graduating high school. And even in the early days of his career, Pikaboo had perfected an intuitive approach to PvP, one that relied less on heavily methodical setups and more on raw, unfiltered pressure, using a combination of speed and mind games in order to dominate his opponents. There's no better example of this mindset than BlizzCon 2018, where Pikaboo and the Gosu crew absolutely dominated Waz and Method Black by training their healer into the ground, and after which the announcers boldly declared that Pikaboo was the best rogue in the entire world. And while he represents the pinnacle of offensive play, on the other end of the extreme,
I mean, haven't seen the video. That's what they're saying. Is that true? Can we get behind that?
Pikaboo was the best rogue in the entire world.
Oh my god. I mean, kind of insane, no? Kind of insane.
Team is Swapsy. Now, Swapsy's most renowned for his back-to-back BlizzCon champions, being one of the only players to ever accomplish such a feat. Swapsy is also one of the highest earning tournament winners of all time, with placings dating all the way back to 2012. And he even holds the world record for number of rank 1 titles, having earned the achievements 31 total times since Wrath of Lich King.
I don't know if that's actually true compared to how many rank 1s I have, but wait, he's got rank 1. Wait, what?
All the way back to 2012. And he even holds the world record for number of rank 1 titles, having earned the achievements 31 total times since Wrath of Lich King.
He hasn't missed an R1 since season 9?
And he's often been described as like the brick wall of Europe, adopting a hyper-defensive playstyle which is difficult to crack, focusing on slowing the game down and maintaining defensive control above anything else. Swapsy really prioritizes defensive efficiency, and he's always trying to find the perfect cooldown to trade with his team. In fact, I remember hearing a rumor that at BlizzCon 2015, his team was actually upset that Joe Fernandez intervened a blind since it messed up their entire defensive flowchart. Swapsy's calculated reactive playstyle might seem a bit robotic, but it's highly efficient, especially in tournament settings where the goal is to minimize mistakes. He's also been a highly proficient multiclasser over the years, playing Shaman, Warlock, Druid, Death Knights, and others at a tournament level. And speaking of multiclassers, I have to give a nod to Sidhu in the GOAT conversation, who I would confidently argue is the
Who did they beat when they won this? What year was this?
most accomplished healer in PvP history. Sidhu is one of those legacy players who truly stood the test of time, having tournament appearances as early as 2009 and then winning the Intel Extreme Masters in 2010. And he started his career as a Resto Shaman, but he eventually branched off, playing every single healer in the game at a tournament level while also supporting a wide range of comps, from offensive melee cleaves to defensive caster cleaves and everything in between. Now, as a healer main myself, I can't even begin to describe how truly impressive this actually is. Most healers tend to specialize, preferring one comp or one playstyle, while Sidhu has proven that he can do it all. And if I had to pick one reason for this, it's because he definitely takes a flowchart approach to PvP. I first started noticing this in Shadowlands when Sidhu, Maz, and Trill would play Windwalker DK into RMP. As a team, they had every cooldown flowcharted, using efficient communication to make sure every kill could be blocked. In a way, this makes Sidhu seem a little bit defensive, but I actually think that's a really good thing as a healer. Overall, I think it'd be hard to argue that these aren't the current list of players in the conversation for greatest of all time. Each one of these players is incredibly accomplished and highly influential, having a combination of rank 1 titles and first place tournament finishes spanning multiple expansions. And although there might have been players that have possessed more mechanical skill or technical mastery, I think longevity reigns supreme in the GOAT debate. Now, with that in mind, I think there are definitely a handful of players who deserve an honorable mention.
Okay.
First up is Venruki, who has had one of the most impressive legacies in all of PvP and would be a contender for a GOAT of the past. While he's arguably the face of PvP today, many players forget how good Venruki was throughout his professional career. He was there alongside Snuts, Rekful, and Soda in the old days of Intel Extreme Masters and the MLG.
Look at this fucking quality. Like, what is going? Oh my god. This is insane.
He even had multiple BlizzCon appearances, including a win in 2012. And during that time, he was one of the first players to ever cross over from caster to melee in a tournament setting, swapping from mage to monk at BlizzCon 2014. Another great player during that era was Zuniaki, who despite never winning BlizzCon, always came ridiculously close, with 3 second place finishes in a row from 2012 to 2015.
This guy right here, my old healer, broke his arm wrestling at a WoW tournament, and he had to be flown back to Europe to get medical attention.
with 3 second place finishes
Never
in a
arm wrestle
row
ever in
from
your life, guys.
2012 to 2015. And he was originally a healer main, I think, but he was one of the first players to successfully multi-class in tournament, swapping over to Shadow Priest and even Arms Warrior, which was fairly uncommon at the time. Zunyaki's career was also really long, ending with yet another second place finish in the 2021 AWC Grand Finals on EU. I swear this guy's just cursed to get second place every single time, but anyway, he's a really good player. And of course, I can't possibly ignore the back-to-back BlizzCon champion during that era, Botar. Together with Swapsy, this was one of the most dominant forces to ever play in Europe.
Oh, this is our team right here. This is us.
2016 was especially impressive since all 3 members of Splice Gaming were able to multi-class, and they even had a list of over 20 comps.
These fucking people at the Sheraton Hotel, they're right. What the fuck are they writing down? LSP into R Druid Beast Cleave. HPAL after they can Beast Cleave into Rogue Druid Mirror, Ret Rogue Druid Mirror, Enhance Rogue into Ret Rogue Mage, what are these guys writing down here? Seadu's team, Seadu, classes they play, main comps, LSP, Beast Cleave, Enhance Rogue, Red Enhance, Prop Value Enhance, FLP, FPP, Troll comps, KFC, Rogue Warrior, Rogue Feral, Rogue Ret, Demo Ret, Jungle, Ret Hunter, Hunter Prot, Kitty Cleave, Mage Feral, HPAL Beast Cleave, and they're talking about win losses or something. They got Shatter Counter, S Cleave RM into the... Dude, this is what the Euros were fucking doing, bro. I mean, what are they doing? Like,
they could theoretically play during that tournament. I'm not even kidding. These are the
writing all this down, man.
I also think Hydra deserves a huge shout out too. He's another player who is there since the earliest days of WoW esports, having competed in some of the earliest events like the Intel Extreme Masters. More than anything else, Hydra was renowned for his PvP videos, which were a really big deal back in the day. Especially Hydra 7 with the greatest spacebar press of all time set to an incredible playlist. And I hope people didn't forget that he actually did win a classic TBC tournament a few years ago. So I think it's quite fitting that he started his career early in TBC and kind of ended his competitive career in TBC too. I also have to give an honorable mention to Mez, Trill, and Samayam, who have all been part of the NA tournament scene for nearly a decade, both with and without Seadu. Trill is especially unique as he's managed to climb to multiple peaks all at once, being a world first raider and BlizzCon champion, which rightfully earned him the title of Mr. World of Warcraft. I also have to talk about Meh, who didn't have a very long competitive career compared to other players on this list, but was extremely dominant, never losing a tournament in the AWC from Shadowlands onward. There's a ton of players who deserve an honorable mention, and I don't have time to talk about them all. I mean, I could talk about Cubsy or WizK, Absturge, Soda, or Talbodar. These are all players that either had a really big impact in the past or have been around for a very long time and are still owning it after all these years, which is pretty cool. And I don't think I could honestly make a PvP GOATs video without talking about the players who had a massive cultural impact on the game. If you PvP'd at all during the early days of WoW, you already know about Warcraft Movies.
2009.
It was a website which hosted the most popular PvP videos at the time, featuring players you still know and love today. And this was before the era of Twitch and YouTube. At the time, sites like Warcraft Movies were the only way you could actually watch and learn from other players. This is where rogues would learn that they could vanish CC from watching players like Nelio, while Hydra was pushing the boundaries of what it meant to play Disc Priest. Streaming would eventually catch on with sites like Xfire, but for the longest time,
Holy
videos
shit.
were...
Oh my god. They have how the hell do they get this? Why you got so much rage all the time? Look, people were just as dumb back then. You had Mortbert in your chat. And this guy who couldn't spell his name right, Shredder, a head kind of thing. Yeah, people have been dumb forever asking these questions. Man, live streaming really hasn't changed much, man. It has not.
King. And if I had to pick just one player to
sick
represent the video era of PvP, it would definitely have to be Swifty. From his incredible warrior tricks in vanilla to his one-shot montages and instructional guides, Swifty was the face of PvP entertainment for a very long time. He would teach players how to duel hunters while simultaneously skating at an ice rink, while everyone typed in the comments for a chance to win a Razor Naga. And together with players like Soda Poppin, Swifty would also be on the cutting edge of live streaming, taking WoW PvP into the next frontier of entertainment. While he doesn't have the same PvP accolades as the other players on this list, I think it would be impossible to deny the impact Swifty had on the entire game. And in case you were worried I'd forget about Reckful, he is without a doubt the spiritual goat of PvP. Just like Thrall represents shamans or Jaina represents mages, Reckful is the eternal face of WoW Arena. This all stems from a series of videos that represent the perfect blend of education and entertainment. Reckful 3 is definitely the best PvP video ever made. In case you haven't seen episode 1 of my Rogue documentary, I go into detail about why Reckful was so misunderstood. Because I think his greatest contribution to PvP was a simple idea: that anyone can play support. Reckful turned the rogue class into something else, inspiring many PvPers to try and play with their teammates in mind. And obviously he went on to become a famous streamer, and during one of his streams, he actually voiced his opinions about who he thought were the greatest PvPers of all time, including one player who I completely agree changed PvP forever. That player is Jamili, who I would argue is one of the greatest influences in
This guy is so fucking fried. I literally, oh my god. I don't know how I played with this idiot for so many years. I mean, he's exactly the same in real life. Does the same moves, everything.
Transforming the metagame. By metagame, I'm not talking about any.
Oh, there we are! Look at us! Gore? Me? Holy shit! Alright!
How the game is actually played and the strategies that most players are using at the highest level. Now, if there's one thing that stands out in modern WoW compared to the distant past, it's speed. Players are much faster both mechanically and how they approach every game. And it always wasn't like this, and back in the day, even good players would take things a bit slower. So how did Jamili bridge this gap? It all starts with a player named Viv, who is infamous for his highly aggressive playstyle, known for popping every cooldown in his spellbook within the first few seconds of the game. He even had this ridiculous looking macro that would focus the enemy healer, charge the current target.
Guys, look at this fucking macro. Show tooltip heroic strike, focus arena 1, cast charge, use your trinket, cast avatar, orc racial, recklessness, skull banner. It's 200 characters of abilities of damage, all in one button. This this didn't exist back in the day either. Like this was all like Veep was like a coder or something too. So all of his macros were really like just he was
macro that would focus the enemy healer, charge the current target, and then pop all available offensives if needed. Without a doubt, Viv was an offensive animal. Jamili took this mindset and applied it to Mage, and absolutely dominated everyone at the start of Mists of Pandaria. Until this point, most players were aggressive with damage, but he was aggressive with control. It was like he was almost 10 years ahead of everyone else in understanding the power of micro.
We're fighting Raikou, healing stat, Pry, Elite, me, and Jaw. Look at Elite, bro. Unbelievable. Was Elite the best Holy Pally of all time? I think he was. I don't know anyone who was better at H Pally than Elite. Elite, I'm pretty sure, was the best Holy Pally to ever play. Pretty sure.
CC, and he just happened to be playing the absolute best class for abusing it. Of course, there are other mages like Pooks who played very aggressive even before Jamili, but the Mob Mage toolkit really made Jamili feel 10 times.
Jaw's biggest thing, what he did was ice block every CC. He never ice blocked defensively. It was the dumbest shit ever. He would just run in, get CC'd, instantly fucking ice block every game.
More overpowered compared to everyone else.
Every
His
game.
desire to play aggro went pretty far, and he was pretty vocal about hating shamans and hating dampening, despite the fact that he played an Ellie shaman named Dampener. And I know many people remember this, but he was actually one of the best duelers at the time, and even though he was undoubtedly a very controversial player, I think Jamili really helped transition the meta from old to new. And speaking of which, looking forward, I think there are a few relatively newer players who could easily become the GOATs of the future. And something I can't help but notice is that a lot of these new players who are getting rank 1 and competing in tournaments all have something in common. They play really fast. Maybe I'm just old, but whenever I watch Calvish play, it looks like he's playing at 2 times the speed. He's proof that you can still do crazy things in WoW, and I always look forward to his next montage. There's definitely a lot of comparisons to be made to Waz and Pikaboo since
How old is this? Oh my god, how old is this clip right here? What expansion is this? Pre-kids Czar? How old is Czar here? Like, what is this? 21 subs? He had a resub name, donation name, he's in the move, Tyrannical Glad. What level is 120?
Calvish also rose to fame as a relatively young player by doing crazy things against Zaryu on stream. I also have to give a shout out to a player like Nick, who I believe was the only person to ever get rank 1 on every single class. Nick has actively been competing in the AWC for quite a while, and he's currently playing with Welcome to the Jung, a team which has gone by many names over the years since their debut in Battle for Azeroth. Without a doubt, this has been the most dominant competitive force in North America, having an insanely long streak of first place finishes in the region. If you're wondering why they're so good, it's because they have a playstyle that is so defensively efficient that it sometimes appears to to be greedy. Seriously, if you want to see a team trade cooldowns perfectly and turn around momentum, just study Drake and Prev. I think it's cool that we're currently seeing the future of WoW play out every Saturday with the North American AWC, which I personally find 10 times more entertaining than EU. No offense.
Yep.
And again, even if I didn't mention your favorite streamer, it's not because I think they're bad. There are tons of players pushing the boundaries these days, and if you're getting rank 1 or even Gladiator today, that's super impressive since WoW is getting insanely hard. Learning a new class means knowing your goals, sustained damage, burst sequence opener, win condition, min-maxing tips, and more on top of tons of game knowledge. Sure, you can spend hours of your time digging for all this information on the internet, but what you find might be outdated from sources who might not know what they're actually talking about. That's why at SkillCap we condense literally everything you need to know into one place, saving you an insane amount of time with thousands of videos organized into courses for every class, while only working with the best and most experienced players in the game, and some of them are actually in this video. And if you want personalized help with your gameplay, we offer every member one free VOD review every month, which is an insane value. We even help you set up your UI with a click of a button and give you 24/7 add-on support. Everything we offer is backed up by a rating gain guarantee where we promise to deliver results or your money back. So if you want to save time and hit your goals by learning from the best players in the world, be sure to use the exclusive discount link below to get started. And for now, I want to thank you all for watching. I had a really fun time making this video. And if you have any more ideas for me about maybe WoW history videos to make, just let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching.
Wow. Guys, what a great video, huh? Damn, great video overall, huh? That was sick. That was a nice trip down memory lane right there. It's funny to see a lot of the same people still around. It was a great video. Yes, we were in the video, Karen. What did they say? They said we had the highest earnings, or we were the best player, or we had the most offensive player. We were the most. What did they say?
Pikaboo was the best rogue in the entire world.